Olivia is with Optimal Canine, and she also works at AERC, knows a lot about dogs and cats and pets in general. And so why don't we go ahead and get started?
All right, awesome. So I wanted to start today by talking about the anatomy of our pet's nail. So I apologize, I'm not an artist, but here's my rendition of a dog nail or cat nail. So this part here, this is the outer hard shell of the nail. A lot of times you hear about the quick of the nail, and that's what bleeds when we cut the nail too short. And that's this piece right here.
And that's what we want to avoid.
Yes, it has a blood supply and nerve supply to the nails. So the longer your dog's nails get, the quick actually grows with them. So with proper nail trimming, we're actually able to help that quick recede back into the nail because it's a nerve. It's going to start to recede. So with healthy nail trims, we have a shorter quick and a shorter nail.
Okay, so when we wait too long, that quick will grow out as well. So if we keep on top of it and do it maybe, what do you think, every 4 weeks or so?
Yeah, you know,
different from pet to pet?
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard though. About once a month is a good timeline for nail trimmings with your pets.
Okay, great.
If you are actively trying to work on getting your pet's nails shorter, if they're really long and you have a really long quick, you may need to do it a little bit more frequently to start seeing results a little bit sooner. But once a month is a great timeline to do nail trims at.
Okay, perfect. So we know how the nail works. Now, what do we do with these pets of ours and how do we get started?
Yeah. So I do want to touch on some supplies that we can use when we're doing our nail trims. So if we're working with dogs, I use a clipper just like this. You'll notice it's got this little shield back here. You can actually move that in, and that's just to put like a stopper to how far your pet's nail is going to go in. So it won't, you can control how much you're moving the nail. If you're nervous,
I always wondered what that's for. I never knew.
Yeah, so that's what that's for. If you're comfortable about where you're clipping, you can always move that out to the side so it's out of the way. But if you're a little bit nervous, it's a really great safety measure for you and your pet.
Okay.
So this is what I use for my dogs. Because my cats are smaller and I don't want something so big and bulky, I do have a little cat nail trimmer. Same thing, just a lot tinier, just really small in my hand. So I use that for them. Another tool that you can use is a Dremel. They sell these for pet specific. They also sell like hardware Dremels, which is what I have. I just found that I like the results I got with it a lot better. So this is one I just like got from a basic hardware store, but our pet stores, Amazon, they all have pet specific ones as well. Some things about the Dremel here. It's loud. You know, when we get it going, you have a low setting, you have a high setting. And that noise alone can be really startling to pets. So if you are wanting to introduce a Dremel, I suggest going slow, you know, just turning it on by them and associating it with like some food or toys or whatever, so they can get used to it. When we're dremeling nails, it's wonderful because you can get them all rounded and pretty. I do like to tell people, be careful how long you're dremeling a nail because it's going to heat up. So you don't want to get it too hot, especially once you're getting closer to the quick.
Now, and that's what I was going to ask you, Olivia. So my dog really hates the trimmers and I've been wanting to try the Dremel, but I'm scared because I don't know how I'm going to tell when I'm really close to the quick with a Dremel.
Yeah, so it can be hard to find the quick with the regular trimmers or the Dremel. With white nails, it's easier because you can tend to see that blood supply and nerve supply in the nail. That's the quick. But if you're looking directly at the nail, so if we were looking straight on at the point here, what you're going to see is like a crescent moon, and you're going to notice it has a little bit different color. It's almost opaque. That is the start of the quick. When you're dremeling, you are grinding that all down, so it can be harder to see. But once you start to see any like color changing there, it's typically when I stop dremeling. The other suggestion I have, which is something I do with my own personal pets, is I clip the nails first, get them pretty well to where I want them to be, and then I finish up with the Dremel. So I know that I'm getting the most nail removed I can with the clipper, and then I can make it nice and soft and rounded with the Dremel. So if you have a pet who's tolerant enough, that's a really great option too, to help with the dremeling.
Okay. Now my dog has black toenails, and when I trim them with a clipper, I was always told that you stop when you see the beginning of a little black dot, like in the center of the toenail. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's that crescent moon that I was talking about. It's just that little color change that you start to see in the middle. Sometimes it's really obvious. Sometimes it's my dogs, it almost looks a little bit paler in color than the rest of their nail, but it's right in the center there. It's a dot crescent moon. That is the start of the quick. So once you see that, you're good to stop trimming.
Okay. And what I typically do, because I really don't want to hit that quick because she doesn't like it already, is I'm just clipping off tiny little bits at a time until I start to see that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I recommend doing as well. I kind of do like a left, right, middle, and work my way around the nail to get it a little bit more rounded, and to be working it from all angles instead of just constantly clipping directly on.
Okay, great. All right, what else can you tell us about toenail trimming?
Well, what happens if you do hit the quick and you start to have bleeding, and it's scary, you feel awful. But I will say that it always tends to look worse than it actually is, because there's that blood supply. Nails like to bleed a lot. A lot. So there's a product called Quick Stop. You can get in a powder or in sticks. Yeah, that's it.
You can see it's like a yellowy powder.
Yeah.
It lasts so long that the label has worn off the front. Like, this thing is massive. You'll never use the entire container the life of your dog.
Right. Yeah. And a little bit goes a long ways. So it will help clot up the bleeding there. If you don't have that and you're in a bind, you can always use some cornstarch or something in the meantime. But the Quick Stop is phenomenal. It works wonderful. The sticks are really wonderful too.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So now I guess talking about
oh, I'm sorry, hang on just a second, Olivia. We have a question that pertains to tools, so let's just get that now. Lisa wants to know, how do you know when it's time to replace that green dog clipper that you were showing? How do you know when it's getting dull if you're using it regularly? That's an excellent question.
Yeah, so I tend to replace, I have 3 dogs, and I do a lot of my friends and family's dogs and other people who pay me to come to their house and do their dogs' nails. So I replace mine about every year, just because I like to have it nice and sharp and whatnot. But if you start to feel quite a bit of resistance, if you feel like the nail is splintering when you clip it, I'd say any of those signs are a good time to get a new trimmer. What's nice is these aren't that expensive. I think this cost me like $7. So they're affordable to replace. Perfect. If you feel like you're having to really like squeeze and clip and it's just not cutting as nice anymore, if you're getting splintering, all good signs it might be getting dull.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for that question, Lisa.
So I guess the other thing is, why should we clip our pets' nails? you know, their nails can affect their posture, which can, you know, then affect their skeleton and their muscles and just make them overall more achy. I know you mentioned having a senior dog and it really helped with the gripping on how they were walking, not
Yeah,
slipping.
it did. Yeah, my dog George lived to be a little over, well, actually almost 16 years old, and he was, you know, a small lab kind of Springer Spaniel sized dog, so pretty old for that big of a dog. And he had mobility issues in his rear legs. We live in a home with all wooden floors and laminate. So, you know, I put out a lot of yoga mats and stuff like that, but it also helped to keep really on top of those toenails. And I probably trimmed them about every 3 weeks for him, just to make sure that they weren't so long that he was having to walk on them and they were really slippery.
Yeah, yeah. And if we let our dog's nails grow, I can't tell you how many times in general practice I saw a dog's nails that had grown so long they'll start to curl, and that can cause wounds and injury and just make it
Yeah.
painful for them to walk. So
Ouch.
nail trims are a very important part of good husbandry with our pets.
Definitely.
All right. So I guess we can talk about how to hold our pets for nail trims.
Yeah,
Um,
so let's talk about dogs first. I know we were going to touch a little bit on kitty cats.
yeah.
Barbara, and I know you were going to get into this, Barbara says her dog fights her and screams like she's beating her, which is so true for so many dogs, even before I get the clipper near her toes. I can't hold her still enough to even see the quick. What are your suggestions? So that's a big topic. Let's get into that.
Yeah. Okay. So there are a lot of different options. I guess when we're looking at behaviors that feel this out of control, like where the dog has so much anxiety and fear associated with nail trims, pharmaceuticals are a really great thing. So that would be prescription medications that you can get from your vet that provide some sedation, not completely zonking them out or anything, but just enough to help take that edge off, help make them a little bit more calm. Trazodone and gabapentin are both really great pharmaceuticals. If you are interested in that, I would recommend reaching out to your regular vet. If you have an established relationship with that veterinarian, if they have done nail trims for your pets, they would have a really great idea on, is this the right route for you? What's the right medication, dose, all of that. So that might be a really wonderful option for her.
Yeah, I like that. I know, you know, back in the day, I've been in vet med for way longer than I care to admit. And back in the day, we would give a drug called acepromazine, which was essentially a tranquilizer, not so much for toenail trimmings, but often for things like thunderstorm anxiety and that kind of thing. And the drugs have come so far. We used trazodone for my dog George for thunderstorms, and he was awake and conscious and perfectly happy with life. He just wasn't freaking out. So I could see this being really helpful for these dogs with toenail anxiety.
Yes, absolutely. Also, when we're dealing with a pet that is, you know, nervous about a nail trim, fearful about it, just doesn't like it,
Yeah.
we need to be patient on our end to help them work through that fear. And so that might mean just tiny baby steps. It might mean only getting one nail done during that nail trim, you know, and then if that's all you get, have a party afterwards, because the next time you might get two nails, and then that from that two nails, you might get a whole paw. So to take your time, when you feel like your dog is hitting that wall, or your cat or any pet, when they're hitting that wall of no more, I am so stressed, I am afraid, it is a good time to stop, take a step back, have a little party, you know, relax, give them some treats, being like, oh, look at how good you did. And then revisiting it later, you know, as much as we'd love to be able to sit down, knock out all four of those feet, getting them trimmed up and be like, look it, you're good to go. They might have to go a little bit slower than that.
Yeah, I like that. Giving them some time so that you're going at their pace rather than yours, right?
Right, exactly. And if at any point in time you feel like you're getting worked up, I know that, I have 3 dogs myself. They each tolerate nail trims completely differently. My one will fall asleep while I do it. My last one, oh no, we're going to be it is taken a lot of time and practice to get to do all 4 feet in one sitting. But if I feel like I'm getting frustrated or nervous, I also know that's a really good time for me to stop, because they feel that, when I'm getting frustrated, they totally can sense that. And then that builds their fear. So when I feel that myself, it's a good time to step away.
Okay. Can you talk then some about how, other than taking it slow, which is huge, and, like you said, when you stop really making a big deal about it, including a lot of praise, what are some other things that we can utilize to make this a more pleasant experience for them and to kind of help them relearn this whole thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So high value treats. There is a product called Licky Mats, where it is just a rubber mat that's got some design built into it. You can smear peanut butter, applesauce, yogurt, whatever smearable item your dog likes. You can smear that on there. You can rig it up so you can hang it somewhere so your dog can sit and be licking that. It's really great for calming them down too. So they can have a constant treat right in front of them while you're working. Okay. If your dog isn't food motivated, I think that it's important to pair nail trims with something that is high value to them. So whether that's the food, which can be a smearable treat, it can be a special cookie. My dog loves tiny pieces of hot dog, whatever it is for your pet. It could be a toy. There could be a special toy that they just love, and you make a playtime session with that afterwards. It can be an activity, whether it's cuddling on the couch or going for a walk or going swimming, whatever it is for your pet. Also, I think it's important to know how to securely hold them too, to make them feel comfortable if that's what they need.
Okay. Yeah. So I know, so my dog, Sally, she's this little tiny dog, hates the toenails being trimmed, and isn't very motivated about her own dog food. However, we did find a treat that she really likes. And I've heard that, like, if you can give them something chewy, it kind of keeps them working on that a little bit longer, maybe, than something crunchy. And sometimes the regular food, if I'm having to do something that I hate, a salad probably isn't going to motivate me to do it, right? I need some ice cream or some chocolate cake. And we found these for Sally. We don't have any affiliation with this company, but Zooks has these little tiny, these are the mini ones because she's a really little dog. And so each treat it says less than 3 calories. And so we don't have to worry about her getting all plumped up because of the nail trims that I'm doing. But I know that works really well for her. That's a treat that she enjoys enough to let me trim her toenails.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. I love Zooks. Happy Howie's is another really awesome treat. It comes in like a meat log, and you can cut it up into really tiny pieces, and it is chewy and soft, and it's my dogs, if they see that come in the mail, they're like, oh, hey.
You can trim her toenails all day long.
Right.
Okay, great. Can you talk for a minute about kitty cats? Because we did have one Facebook fan who was like, I don't have a dog, but I do have a cat, and this is something that sometimes cat owners have to deal with too, right?
Yeah. So if you're lucky enough to have a cat that will just let you hold, grab the paw, clip the nails, that's wonderful. If you have one that tends to wiggle around a lot more, I really like to use a towel. So wrapping them in a towel, I have a better hold on them. I don't feel like they're going to slip and slide out of my hands as easy. And then I'm able to take each paw out as I need it to work through their nails. But same thing. If they start to get too stressed, if it becomes too much, I might only get 1 or 2 paws done or 1 or 2 nails done and then build on that. Yeah. And there are some cats who are food and toy motivated too. So the same thing applies, you know, making a positive experience for your cat. Absolutely.
Get that canned tuna out.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I wanted to show too, this is something that's been really well received by my dog. It's called a gentle leader. I know you're familiar with this, Olivia. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab her off the floor really quick and I'll done. Oh my gosh, what is happening? So I'll hold her in just a sec so you guys can see this once I put it on her, but it's just a little nose collar. And sometimes this makes dogs feel like, you know, it's supposed to communicate to them in the same way that their moms did, apparently, where the mom put her mouth around their nose and corrected them that way, but she can still open her mouth. It's not a muzzle. She can still pant and eat and all these things. And for some reason, it just makes her feel more secure in her own life. And so when I put this on her and I trim her toenails, I don't have to restrain her as much, because it seems like for her, the tighter I hold her, the more worked up she gets. Do you think that's true of a lot of dogs?
Yeah, that's a really great point. Some pets they need a less is more approach. Okay. So they may just need to be laying down and to, you know, maybe get a little bit of pets while you work on those nails. They don't necessarily need to be held in a specific tight position, just, you know, letting them have a little bit more space, a little less facial pressure on them, and working through that.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people out there just kind of thinking who can't even touch their pet's paw without them being like, nope. So if that happens to be any of the people who are watching, something I'd recommend is slowly involving like paw play. So if you're just laying on the couch and your pet is here sleeping and you're able to just like touch their paw and maybe give it a few squeezes and rubs and just, you know, not making a big deal about anything, but, you know, working their feet more, not even bringing any of the nail trimming tools into it, but just getting them more comfortable with their paws being handled. That can be a great step if their pets are like, absolutely not with the nail trims from the get-go, and we need to just work on being able to touch our feet. That's a really great option. Finding times when they're really calm and building on that with just, you know, a paw massage. You know, I'm just going to rub it a little bit and it's going to be okay. And then, you know, here's some treats and here's some love, here's some praise. That can go a long way.
Yeah, I like that. It sounds like patience is really kind of the root of all of this. And we have so many people out there who have gotten new pets, you know, maybe adult pets that they've just adopted, or puppies that are new to their home. And it seems like starting with just touching the feet would be kind of a good tip for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's huge.
Yeah.
And I have with every one of my puppies.
Okay, great. Can you talk about how do I know that I am biting off more than I should be with this process? Like, you know, there are some dogs out there who probably are not, it's just not going to happen. And you know, we want to put in our best effort. We want to use lots of patience. We want to do all these treats and everything. But how do I know when my safety might be in jeopardy because I'm pushing things too far?
Yeah. If you at any point start to feel like your pet is very fearful, when a pet is fearful, they are more inclined to lash out, whether that's biting or things like that. So if you start to hear growling, if you are seeing ears back, tail tucked, they are trying to get away from you, they're cowering, anything like that, it's too much and it's time to stop.
Okay.
Yeah, dogs are very expressive in their body language. So knowing how your pet uses their body language is really important. So ears back is.
And let me stop you for a sec, because for the kitties, it's similar, right? With their bodies.
Yeah,
Here's
a
back
big
to,
thing with big thing with cats, if that tail starts to flick, and
okay.
that is a sassy flick, that is I am very annoyed, and we might be reaching that point of I need to stop.
Okay.
They again can be vocalizing, whether that's hissing, growling, they'll set their ears flat back. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. So what I'm hearing you say is we want to first know what we're doing. Obviously, we need to know where the quick is and when to stop, because if I'm cutting the quick all the time, I'm not doing myself or my dog any favors, right? I'm not going to make this process any more fun for anyone. We need the proper tools and be prepared in case things start to bleed. We want to have, that quick stop or cornstarch. I've heard flour sometimes too.
Yeah, I was actually, I used pancake powder once because we were out somewhere. I had nothing. I accidentally hit a quick. It was like the only thing I had was this pancake mix. And I was like, all right. So, I mean, anything that's going to clot it up.
Yeah, I know if I put that on Sally's feet, she's going to spend the next 15 minutes licking it off though, because that's exactly. So we want the tools. We want to be talking to our veterinarian if we feel like pharmaceuticals are a good option for our pet. I really, really like that one because I think, again, just taking that edge off and making them go, oh, you know what, this isn't the end of the world. I don't have to get all worked up about this. That's a really good one. And then lots of praise, lots of treats, taking it slow. We don't have to get all 4 feet trimmed in the same day, especially in quarantine. We have a lot of time on our hands anyway, right?
Absolutely.
So let's see. So Patty, I think probably tuned in a little bit late. She does have a question. She was wanting to know, can the nails get too long? And we talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to recap that for Patty?
Yeah, not a problem. Yes, the nails can get too long. We can actually see them start to curl under. The quick inside the nail, that nerve and blood supply grows with the nail. So the longer they get, the harder it is going to be to get them trimmed back to where a healthy nail should be. It's going to be a longer process. It can affect their posture, which can result in some overall body aches and pains.
Okay, great. And then Jeannie wanted to see your clipper again. Can you show her the options? She wanted to know what the best clipper is, but I don't know that there's a brand that we're necessarily recommending.
Right. This one is the Safari brand, but there are a lot of really wonderful brands out there.
I have one that's similar as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have that nice guard on mine, which is really cool, but yeah, I don't know what the brand is on this one, but talk to your veterinarian. This is something that I'm sure that they sell. And, most of them are these small local businesses. They really need our support right now. So if you could go to them first before going to chewy.com or something like that, they would really love you for that.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
Yeah. Oh, I should mention too that, a lot of these clinics have online stores. So it could be just as easy as a click. And they have home delivery. So check that out for sure.
Yeah. One thing with nail trims I wanted to touch on, I know there was a video that went viral recently of a woman who was doing nail trims. She had saran wrap and peanut butter smeared on her forehead.
Yes.
Well, the video was, a little cute. It's really not safe. And I would not recommend anyone doing that with their pet. She's, putting her face right in front of her dog's face. If she hit that quick, some dogs, they let out a yelp, a bark, they try to bite. It can hurt. It is a nerve supply. So when we hit that can be startling for them. And if she would have done that with her pet right there, it could have been very dangerous for her. And, that's not great for her pet either. So do not recommend reenacting that video.
Cute idea, got a lot of reaction, but veterinary professionals say no.
No.
Awesome. Well, this was really great. I think that is all the questions that we had. I know that people are going to find this really, really helpful. And again, you know, talk to your vet. If and like Olivia said, if they think this is not something that you should be trying at home, I'm sure that they will feel free to share that information with you, because they want you to be safe too, just as much as you do. Oh, we did have one more quick question come in, Olivia, and then we'll sign off. Lisa wants to know, she says she's working on getting that quick to recede, like we talked about. She said, can they also be too short, or what's a good general length?
Wow, that's a really great question. I guess
Yeah.
I've never seen a dog's nails be too short.
Okay.
So that's a tough one. I mean, Heidi, in your experience, have you ever seen a dog's nails get too short?
No.
I feel like there's a point where it's not going to go back any farther,
right.
And the nail's not going to get any shorter.
Yeah, I think that structure of the quick is, you know, it's part of their body, and you know, it's only going to go so far. So right. It gets too long, but I don't think it goes the other way and gets too short. That's kind of been my experience anyway. I never have gotten my dog's toenails as short as I wanted them to be.
Yeah, I mean, if she's got that, props to her.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's quite an accomplishment. And then, so this is a good one we didn't hit. Jeannie wanted to know, well, we did talk about sometimes less restraint is better. She said, what's the best way to maybe hold the feet, holding the dog themselves? And of course, that's going to be different depending on the size of the dog. What do you think?
Yeah, so some dogs do okay just standing, and I like to turn their foot backwards. I wish I had something.
Are you kind of like this?
Yes, just like that. So like you tip the foot back.
Yeah, I always think of it as like a horse. It's almost like, you know, picking up their hoof. Yeah.
Yep. So sometimes that's really great. And if you're going to do that and you need help holding, an arm around like the neck and chest and an arm under the stomach to help keep them up can be really helpful. If they're laying down, you know, holding the feet that are touching the ground, not the ones that are above, because that's where they get their power to roll on you. So if you're able to hold those feet that are touching the ground, that can be really helpful if they're laying. Otherwise, you know, sitting, just putting their paw up, and maybe someone can be holding around their chest, giving them some ear rubs, telling them what a good dog they are.
Right. Yeah, I think the thing we can generally agree is pitting them to the ground and having multiple people lay on them is just not the best approach, because you're just going to make it harder for everybody, and especially your pet. That's just going to make it a terrible experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, great. Wonderful. Well, this was fabulous. And again, I'm going to request of people who are viewing, if there are other things that are really stressing you out about being a pet owner, particularly in this pandemic, and you think that we could be of help, we are happy to do so. We have so much knowledge at AERC. We have all these specialists. We have wonderful technicians like Olivia and emergency doctors, and we are happy to provide whatever information you feel would be helpful. We just need to know what that would be. So wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today, Olivia. I know that people are better armed for this task of trimming toenails, and hopefully they are gonna take your points to heart and just make it more pleasant for everybody involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope so.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye-bye.